If you'd like online business explained to you in a way that you can actually understand, go to latenightim.com/explain. It's completely free, and I made it just for you. Now, how about an episode?
Episode 143.
Late Night Internet Marketing.
This week on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast, it's the beginner's guide to drop shipping. This is a question I've been getting a lot lately, and I give you everything you need to know about starting your own drop shipping operation right now today on the show. All this and more on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
The Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
You've been working for somebody else, but you want a business to run yourself. You want to know how to start and where to begin. Can you get out your comfort zone, my friend? Yes, you can do it right when it's late at night. At the end of the day, your dreams burning inside. So keep it up and you will find that you're building your business one night at a time.
And now, broadcasting late at night from a little studio in the big state of Texas, your host, Mark Mason.
All right. How is everyone doing today? I am Mark Mason, and this is the podcast that helps you start a business online, even if you're doing it part-time late at night. Coming to you from Dallas, Texas in the early morning. How crazy is that? Late night internet marketing. But as you know, sometimes my schedule gets so crazy that I actually record the show in the wee hours of the morning instead of late at night. And last night, I had no voice. It was time to record the show, and I was coming home from the quarterfinal round in my son's baseball tournament. I was coaching. The head coach was out of town, and my voice was completely shot. In fact, you can probably still hear it in my voice, but we probably sound a lot better than we did last week. Thank you for putting up with that mobile recording last week. I'm going to work on that technology a little bit. That audio quality is not up to the standards for this show. That quality we had last week, it was kind of fun to do that, but we'll work on that and see if we can do a mobile recording now and again. I think that's kind of fun. We'll try that if we can get the quality a little higher than what we had last week. So I have been getting all kinds of questions about this dropshipping work that I've been doing at Late Night Internet Marketing. People wanting to know, well, how does that really work? What are you really doing? How can I start my own dropshipping store? And in fact, the latest question like that came from the lady who does such a fantastic job on the Late Night Internet Marketing show notes. And she was asking me, what's that course and how can I take it and so forth. And so the bad news is the course that I'm taking, the 100K Factory course, is closed. And my understanding is that at least that exact course won't ever open again. And not only that, it's a pretty expensive course. And so what I thought I could do is just give you an overview of how dropshipping works and what I would do if I were dropshipping a store on the cheap today from a beginner's perspective. If I were starting, rather, a drop shipping store today, what would I do? So let's break this down and see what we can talk about with regard to how e-commerce works in general and how drop shipping works specifically and how you might get started on a low budget doing some drop shipping. So the first thing is, what exactly are we talking about here? What is drop shipping? How does this work? And why is it appealing? Well, normally we talk about affiliate marketing as being appealing because you can get started with affiliate marketing with a minimum investment. We really like that. It has less moving parts. We don't have to create our own product. We don't have to do the customer service and so forth. So we like that. Well, that's also part of the reason that we like drop shipping. The idea behind drop shipping is that you do marketing for a product that you don't physically yet possess. You identify a product in a niche that you really like or you think would be good, and you market that product and actually sell it. And once you get a sale for that product, and for this particular example, let's say that you are selling a really clever coffee mug. Maybe it's a late night internet marketing coffee mug, which I have in my hand. I'm actually drinking my coffee out of a late night internet marketing coffee mug, and I will put a picture of said mug in the show notes so you can see what that looks like. So let's say we're selling late night internet marketing coffee mugs. This is an incredibly popular item. People all over the world are buying these late night internet marketing coffee mugs. Now, this is a kind of a silly example, but you can imagine maybe it's a funny coffee mug about a niche like basketball. Maybe you got a funny basketball coffee mug that says, basketball players do it in a hoop or something like that. Something funny that wasn't actually very funny, but you get the idea, that has broad appeal that a lot of people might buy. I think particularly the kind of things that work well for this sort of model that I'm going to describe are things that are generally priced under $20 or $30 and that someone might buy on impulse. And so you've got this little item and you found a way to advertise this, and you're going to sell it to people and take their money. And let's say that this coffee mug, let's say you sell it for $19.95. So you've got this coffee mug, it's for sale for $19.95, and people buy it for $19.95. But you found a source, a wholesaler, or a manufacturer of this coffee mug that will sell you the coffee mug for $10 instead of $19.95. And for that price, they will ship it directly to your customer. So in this case, you take the order, you take the $20, you take 10 of the $20 and you send it to your supplier and you say, supplier, please ship the coffee mug directly to my customer. You put the $10 in your pocket and use it to pay for your advertising expenses, and that is drop shipping. So that's how drop shipping works. And I think most of you are probably familiar with that. And what you probably don't realize is that there's a lot of stuff that you buy that is drop shipped in that way. And we like this because the manufacturer or whoever is doing the drop shipping actually ends up being responsible for all of the warehousing. Of course, they're producing the product. They're handling the fulfillment in the sense that they're packing the thing in a box and shipping it. Now, what are the complications? Well, to get the margins that you need, sometimes, but not always, you choose to drop ship these products from China. After all, a great number of the products that are manufactured in the world are manufactured from China. And one of the challenges that you run into with things from China is not so much product quality, which used to be a much bigger issue 20 or 30 years ago, but really more an issue of shipping times. So your customers, some of your customers, you may be worried, are used to Amazon Prime and getting things the next day. And so you may be wondering, well, how will they be patient enough to wait on something from China? Turns out that's not a big deal. We'll talk about that in a minute. But that's the model. You sell something that you don't have, and you have it shipped directly to the customer from your supplier, which could be anywhere in the world, including China. Now, this is different than other e-commerce models that you may have heard of, where, for example, you might buy 1,000 of some item and store them in your bedroom and then try and sell them out of a Shopify store or on eBay or something like that and fulfill them yourself out of your house. And the problem with that model and the challenge that people have, that can be a very, very effective model. People have made a lot of money doing that. But the challenge is you've got to worry about getting stuck with 1,000 items. If you decide that what is really going to sell is a diamond-studded cat collar, and you go buy 1,700 diamond-studded cat collars because you can get them for a really good price, and you put them in your spare bedroom, well, you've got to sell 1,700 diamond-studded cat collars or you're stuck with them. And that can be a real challenge, especially if you're just getting started in some kind of e-commerce business. On the flip side, if you're doing drop shipping, you don't have to have any diamond-studded cat collars. You can find a supplier for diamond-studded cat collars, and you can sell those and then fulfill them from a diamond-studded cat collar supplier. And that can work really well. And then if you find, oh my gosh, the market for diamond-studded cat collars is amazing, and I could do better if I bought 1,000 of these. Now I have a track record selling diamond-studded cat collars. I can get a deal from the supplier if I'll buy a crate of 1,000 of these cat collars. I'm going to go ahead and buy those and store them in my house because my margins are better when I do that. You can do that with a lot less risk if you already understand the business and know what it takes to sell 1,000 or 1,700 diamond-studded cat collars. So there we go. So that's how drop shipping works. So if you were going to start a drop shipping store, what would you do? And it turns out there's really only a few steps, and it's super low risk. So the first thing that you will have to do if you are going to start a drop shipping operation of any kind is you're going to have to pick a niche in which to sell your products. Now, maybe you've already got a niche-based business in your because of your affiliate marketing efforts. For example, maybe you've already got a website about cats. And if you've already got a website about cats, you're probably already selling affiliate products about cats on your cat website. If that's the case, then it might be a natural thing for you to pick to go identify some products in the cat niche to go drop ship. But if you don't currently have a niche and you're looking for something that you want to sell by drop shipping, I think what you really want to do is start imagining a niche where people are making they're making impulse buys on a relatively frequent basis. And one place to find these sort of things is on Facebook. The kind of things that you see advertised on Facebook where someone clicks and they actually buy something off of Facebook on something that's advertised on Facebook, little items like funny t-shirts and coffee mugs and stuff like that. Those are 9 times out of 10, or at least maybe 8.5 times out of 10. A lot of those items that you see are being drop shipped. And so you can start to imagine the kind of interesting niche products that you might want to advertise to people that you've seen around that are currently being advertised to you. For example, one of the things that was getting drop shipped a lot in the past few months has been these fidget spinners. So that's an example of a popular item. You see these advertised on Facebook. These are these little spinners that you hold, and they have ball bearings in them, and you spin them, and they're supposed to relax you and deal with your anxiety and so forth as you spin them. These are largely drop shipped when you buy them, when you see them for sale online. Now, of course, again, when some people realized what the market was for these fidget spinners, some people ordered thousands of them and are fulfilling them, for example, on Amazon with Amazon Prime, and they're shipping them much faster than drop shipping because they recognize the market was there. Here's the flip side risk of that I was talking about. The popularity of fidget spinners now is going down. The market is getting really crowded. And so if you don't time it right, you might end up with a warehouse full of fidget spinners because you bought too many too late and you weren't able to get rid of them all. So the first thing is to pick a niche of products that you want to sell. And you'll find that the kinds of products that you can drop ship, it's an infinite array of things that you could possibly drop ship. And the place to look for ideas for what to drop ship, besides looking around on Facebook and seeing what ads are being run and so forth, is a place like AliExpress, AliExpress. Now, if you're not familiar with AliExpress, AliExpress is not strictly a drop shipping shop, but rather it's essentially Amazon for China, in China. It's Amazon in China. Not really for China, but Amazon based out of China. And so if you go to AliExpress, you can look around at all of the amazing products they have, and you will see that there's all kinds of stuff on there for ridiculously low prices. So I'll have maybe an example or two in the show notes. But just for example, if I go to the AliExpress website homepage right now, they're featuring products on the front of that page, just like they do on Amazon. And I see an LED flashlight. It's a 10-watt flashlight. It's waterproof. It has 5 light modes. It's LED based. It has a zoomable lens, runs on AAA batteries, and it looks pretty cool. That flashlight is $6.50. Okay, so I'll put the link to this flashlight in the show notes. So this black flashlight looks pretty cool. And you probably have seen in your travels around the internet, a lot of people sell these LED flashlights in all different places. But imagine in this particular case, this LED flashlight is $6.50, and that includes the shipping. So if you could sell this flashlight for $14.95 or $9.95, you could start to imagine how you could sell it. And let's just say you just simply double the price. You sell this flashlight 2 times $6.50 is $13. So you sell this flashlight for $12.99 in your ad, and maybe it's really a fantastic flashlight. I mean, it could be awesome. It's good to know that ahead of time. So maybe you order one and see, oh yeah, this is a really good flashlight for $6, and you sell this thing for $12.99, and you fulfill it from AliExpress. You pocket the $6.50 because there's no shipping cost for you, and you go ahead and make a 50% profit on this item before your marketing costs and operational costs and so forth. So that sounds pretty good, and that's how that would work. Now, I will tell you that, at least in my experience, the more novel the item is and the more difficult it is to just go down to the store and buy it, the more likely that you are to be successful with this sort of drop shipping operation. But you get the idea with this flashlight. One of the things that I've been seeing a lot lately, the other day I was at a neighborhood outdoor shopping area in my community where they have live music and there are outdoor shops and restaurants. And one of the things that we really like to do with our friends who have kids that are the same age as ours is we go to this pub and we'll sit out on the patio and eat dinner. Unfortunately, lately, I haven't been drinking any beer because of this crazy Cliff Ravenscraft diet that I'm on that's almost over. I've still got a few more pounds to lose. That's a whole nother story. Maybe I'll update you on that later. But we sit out there and let the kids play out in the grass and so forth. And when we were out there the other day, we saw that there was a guy out there selling in these sort of inflatable couches. I don't know how to describe these to you other than to say it's a giant bag made of something that resembles parachute material, constructed in an airtight sort of way. And if you run with the bag, kind of like running with a kite, you could fill it up with air like a balloon, and then you could seal it. You could close it. It had a way you could close it. And then you kind of tied it together in a way that it made a giant donut-shaped pillow that you could lay out on the lawn. So this guy was selling these inflatable couch things out there on the lawn for about $80. I think my daughter wanted one, so I went up and talked to the guy. The guy was selling them for $80. And my poor daughter, who's 7, did not understand why we couldn't have an inflatable bag of air for $80. But I had to put the brakes on that one. I was like, no, I know you normally get absolutely everything that you want, princess. However, we're not buying a bag of air for $80. And I recognize that this was clearly coming from a place like AliExpress. And sure enough, I went back into the pub, pulled up my cell phone, looked on AliExpress, and in 3 seconds was able to find this thing for $14.95 or $19.99. This guy was marking this item up 4X and selling them locally. Well, a little more digging found that you could find Shopify stores that were selling these for $50, again, getting them for $19.95 and drop shipping them. And I'll put a link to that air pillow couch thing in the show notes as well, just to give you an example of what's possible. You know, that's one of the kind of crazy things about marketing and retail. The right price for something is whatever people will pay. And if you've got a novel item that people haven't seen before and that they want, and it's an impulse buy, they're not going to go comparison shopping for this product. They're just going to buy it, right? And so the question is, can you find those products on AliExpress? Once you find them, one of the things that you're looking for on AliExpress is what kind of shipping is available from China. And it turns out there's this thing called ePacket. So ePacket is this agreement that I think started with the Hong Kong government back before they were part of China, when they were actually still part of the British Empire. And ePacket is an agreement between the Hong Kong Post and the U.S. Post Office, which has now extended to many other countries in the world, where you can ship something out of China and get a valid tracking number that will be valid for the U.S. Postal Service. So if you ship something from China with ePacket, you get a USPS, U.S. Postal Service tracking number that you can give your customers, and they can track their shipment online. Now, it takes it several days to leave from China. The shipping time is still 10 to 20 days, but it's much, much faster than other traditional shipping methods from China, and it's trackable. And usually we find on these impulse buy decisions, people don't really care that it's going to take a week or two. They didn't need this item that they're impulse buying in the first place, and they don't really care how long it takes to get there in general. If it was something that they were looking for, they wouldn't have been impulse buying it off of Facebook. They would have gone to Amazon and searched for something that was available on Amazon Prime. We find that when these dropship items are advertised in the right way, you get the impulse buy. People will tolerate the shipping, and everything is all good. And so that's, turns out ePacket works really well. So when you're doing this kind of drop shipping and you're just starting out, my recommendation, and this is what's taught in this 100K Factory course, is that you find something on AliExpress and you look for ePacket shipping, and you pick a niche that you want to operate in, and you find some novel, exciting products in your niche that you think people might be interested in buying. So now that you've found a product and it's in a niche, the next thing that you've got to do is figure out a way to sell this thing. Now, again, if you've got an existing website, probably the way to set this up is to add WooCommerce plugins to your existing WordPress website and utilize the infrastructure that WooCommerce provides. Now, I'm not a WooCommerce guy. I hear wonderful things about that. I do hear that, like all WordPress things, there is an amount of technical support that's involved in maintaining WooCommerce, and conflicts with other plugins and stuff like that can be difficult. Interactions with particular themes and, stuff like that can require a certain amount of expertise, technical expertise. This is not any different than anything that you do with WordPress. You add plugin A and it conflicts with plugin B, and you've got to figure that out. Or WordPress gets updated and it breaks your plugin or something like that. That happens, but if you've got a reasonable amount of technical savvy or someone that can help you, WooCommerce is a great low-cost solution and way to get e-commerce up and running on your site. And there are other e-commerce solutions for WordPress as well. But for me, and what I recommend, if you don't have an existing website particularly, and maybe even if you do, I am now a huge fan of Shopify. And if you're interested in if you're interested in using Shopify, you can use my affiliate link at latenightim.com/Shopify to sign up for a free trial if you want to check it out. Shopify is awesome. And I will tell you, I had heard about Shopify for a long time. I'd never really investigated it. I didn't really appreciate how cool it was. Instead of self-hosted WordPress, it's basically equivalent to a WordPress.com thing where Shopify is hosting your website. Shopify is maintaining the code. Everything is done on Shopify, just like if you're running WordPress on WordPress.com, everything is done by WordPress.com. But it is tailored for e-commerce. It is for online stores. And the number of people who are running Shopify, big and small, is absolutely mind-boggling. And so you create a Shopify account, you connect it with your domain. You know, you go buy a domain like bobsstore.com, and you hook this to your Shopify store, and you can literally be up and running in a few hours. I mean, it's truly amazing. Shopify can handle taking the money. They have payment processors. And in fact, the 3 payment processors that I have set up on my site are Shopify Payments, which amazingly and magically includes Apple Pay, which as an Apple fanboy makes me really, really happy. PayPal, which everybody needs to take on their store. I think PayPal, most of the payments that I get in my Shopify store come through PayPal. And even things like Amazon Pay and Bitcoin and other things like that are supported by Shopify. And so that's super easy and super cool. And just really, you know, people ask me, well, how am I going to take money? All this kind of stuff, all of that payment gateway, payment processor stuff, all of the themes, all of the how to list products, how to handle the fact that this product comes in 4 different colors. How am I going to handle that? All of that is handled incredibly well by Shopify. So I really recommend Shopify at latenightim.com/Shopify if you're going to look at that. So you start up your store and you populate it with the information for this flashlight or this blow-up air couch, and you make that item for sale. You make your Shopify store live, and if someone comes to your store, then they can see this, they can pay you money, and you will get an email when they buy this flashlight from you that says, John Smith from Nantucket, Nebraska has just bought item 7, which is a flashlight. And then you can take that item and you can go over to AliExpress and you can order the flashlight. John Smith is giving you $13. You take 7 of his dollars and you go over to AliExpress and you order this flashlight and you have it shipped directly to him in Nebraska. He's happy. He's got his flashlight. You're happy. You kept $6.50 of his money and put it in your bank account. You gave AliExpress the other $6.50 and it's all good. And so that's how that works with Shopify. But I think the question is, well, that sounds like a pain. I mean, that's easy if there's one John Smith, but Mark, I want to make $100,000 a year in e-commerce, which, by the way, that's totally doable. And I see people in this 100K factory that are either already doing that. In fact, I see people making tens of thousands of dollars a month doing drop shipping in this 100K factory program. And that's possible for you too. But if you're selling tens of thousands of dollars a month worth of flashlights, that means that you're shipping thousands of flashlights a month. And so the question is, God, Mark, this sounds like a pain, because in my store, I want to have lots of products. I need a way to get those products in the store and get them set up. And I need a way to fulfill those orders, and doing them one at a time while I'm sitting at my desk in my house is not working for me. What I recommend for you there, and what I would say most people in this situation use that are working with AliExpress and working with Shopify, what most people in this situation use is a tool called Oberlo. Now, there are other tools like this, and I haven't tried them all, but what I've used of Oberlo, I've been very impressed. And the Oberlo tool does two things for you. One is it helps you search AliExpress for products that you might be interested in. It helps you evaluate and sort the good suppliers from the bad suppliers. It helps you identify which products have this e-packet shipping capability and which products don't. And once you identify a product that you want to sell in your store, it helps you push a button and suck the information for that product into your store. So that's really cool. So that's one thing that Oberlo does. The other thing that Oberlo does is once you've sold a product, it helps you push a button and transfer the shipping information that the customer entered. You know, when the customer checks out in your store, they put in their information. Hi, I'm John Smith. Please ship my product to Main Street, Nebraska, and here's my zip code and phone number. It sucks that information out of Shopify and jams it in the order entry screen on AliExpress for you and ships the product for you essentially at the click of a button. So Oberlo automates that. So what have we done so far? So we've identified a niche. We've looked on AliExpress in that niche and identified products. We've fired up a Shopify store, and we've populated the store with products that we want to sell. And we have used some software technology called Oberlo to make it possible to get those products to our customer easily. You don't have to have Oberlo at first. You can do things manually at first, but that's what you're going to want to do. Once you have more than 2 or 3 orders, you'll be ready to stop retyping that customer information and use a tool like Oberlo. So now the problem for your internet business is the quintessential problem for all internet businesses, which is, where do I get the traffic? Now, the reason that I took this Dropify, that could be my next product, Dropify. The reason that I took this Shopify-based e-commerce drop shipping course, 100K Factory, was not really because I wanted to build an additional business around late night internet marketing, although that seems to be exactly what's going to happen. It was because I wanted to learn about Facebook advertising. And so one way you can get traffic to your store is to advertise on Facebook. And I think that has been a very common and will continue to be a very common way to advertise dropship products, because the targeting that you can achieve with Facebook is unparalleled in any other platform and is truly magical. Do you need to find people who are between the age of 25 and 35 who love cats and scuba diving because you've got a t-shirt that is targeted at cat lovers who scuba dive and the design of the thing is for young people? Facebook can do that for you. Okay. You're not going to be able to do that on something like Google AdWords because no one's going to be searching for cat scuba shirt, because again, we're generally targeting people, offering them things that they didn't know that they needed. They're not searching for these things. We're interrupting them. This is interruptive marketing. And we're saying, hey, you guy who likes cats and scuba diving, we've got this amazing cat scuba diving t-shirt that you just can't live without. Here, it's $19.95. Please buy this shirt. And they buy it, and it costs you $9.95 to fulfill the shirt, and you ship it to him, and he's happy, and he's showing his friends this amazing cat scuba diving shirt, and you keep the $10, and everybody wins. Facebook is amazing for this because you can actually target exactly the right people. And what drop shipping turns into is a game where you, as the player, are trying to identify the target audience, the narrowly targeted audience that buys your product at a rate that pays for the ads with a profit. Because when you sell that flashlight or that airbag couch thing or that cat scuba diving t-shirt, in all these examples, I've suggested that you're marking the product up about twice what you paid for it. Now, maybe you mark it up 3 times, or maybe you mark it up 75%, whatever. But for simple math, we're saying you're buying something for $10 and you're selling it for 20. With that $10 that you made, 20 minus 10 being 10 again, with that $10 that you have in your pocket, you have to pay your costs out of that. And one of your big costs is going to be advertising. So the question you're asking, generally speaking, is, can you find advertising that will allow you to not spend all the $10? If you spend $11 advertising a product that you're making 10 on, then you're losing money. And I've always joked, I'm the master at spending $1 to make 90 cents with paid advertising. I've done this so many times. What I'm learning from this course is how to spend $3 to make 10, or really more accurately, the typical result in drop shipping, I think, is to find opportunities to have profit margins on the order of 40 to 50%. So literally to spend money on the product and the shipping and the advertising, so that when you make $20, you only have to spend about $12 in order to fulfill the product, ship it to the customer, and do that advertising, the average advertising cost. So you're looking for something that you're looking at a business that makes sort of a 40% profit margin. Now, if you can generate an online store that sells $500 worth of products a day, I mean, let's say that you've got a $20 product and you are selling 25 of those a day. That's not too hard to imagine. Selling 25 widgets a day on an online store that's available all throughout the world, where you're running Facebook ads. If you can do that, and you can do that at a 40% margin, you're talking about $100,000 worth of profit a year on a business where you can easily outsource the fulfillment. You can easily hire someone to run Oberlo and ship these products out every day. And so it's really easy to imagine making $100,000, actually clearing $100,000 a year on these kind of drop shipping operations. And I will tell you, I have met people in this course on Facebook that, where we have this private Facebook group where we're talking to people that are actually doing this, real people. Now, not me yet. I have made money. I'm not making that kind of money with it yet, but I have absolutely sold products like this using Facebook advertising. And it's clear to me, based on the evidence that's in front of me, that this is something that you can do as well. So what are the possible sources of traffic? Well, of course, we talk a lot about SEO, and SEO for e-commerce is hard, but that's certainly possible, especially if you're combining this with a content-rich site and you're adding drop shipping on top of your affiliate marketing site. I think search engine traffic is definitely viable for this. But as I say, it's not optimum, because generally people aren't searching for a cat scuba diving t-shirt. Facebook is where a lot of people start, and you can target Facebook for mobile. That's another great thing about Shopify. It's fully responsive, so all of your stuff works equally well on mobile and a 27-inch 5K display. I mean, everything looks beautiful on Shopify. In case you can't tell, I'm really impressed with Shopify. Facebook's traffic is it appears to be a really good source of traffic. Instagram, which is also owned by Facebook, is a newer and very interesting source of traffic that a lot of people are having success with. Pinterest is fantastic, especially if your product pops visually. There are ways to advertise on Pinterest, and ways that you can use social sharing inside of Pinterest to get traffic. And basically, other media platforms are worth a try too. For example, Twitter, although I think we find that to be less responsive, that's another opportunity to get traffic. And basically anything else that you can imagine for traffic generation generally applies here. But the big ones are these ones where you can target interests. And, targeting interests is a little harder on Twitter, but on Facebook, it's really straightforward. And I think that's one of the things that makes Facebook advertising so powerful, is you can get to exactly who it is that you want to get to. So the steps are: identify a niche, identify some products in that niche that sort of meet this test. They're not too expensive. They're good for impulse buys. People are willing to tolerate a little bit of shipping delay and so forth. find those products on a place like AliExpress. Very straightforward to do. Open up a Shopify store and list some of those products for sale in your Shopify store. Set up your payment processor, make it look beautiful, so on and so forth. And then if you like, optionally use a tool like Oberlo to help you find those products and automate your fulfillment process. And then finally, drive traffic to the store using the method that you think makes sense. And I recommend that you start with Facebook. And I will tell you, in this course that I'm taking, we're not talking about testing the viability of these products, the profitability of these products with thousands of dollars of ads. These guys test with a few dollars of ads per day per product. So it's not like you need $100,000 to get this business started. In fact, you don't need any money to pick your niche. You don't need any money to find a product on AliExpress. You need to get started on Shopify. You don't actually need any money, because at latenightIM.com/Shopify, you can start with a free trial. But once you do start up your Shopify store, you really can, the level that you need is this $29 a month level. So you're in for $29 a month on Shopify, and possibly less than that if you choose the WordPress route. Oberlo is, I believe, is still free for a low number of shipment products. So when you're getting started out, it's essentially free. It's very inexpensive or free when you're starting. Now, when you're selling 1,000 products a day, it's more expensive, but you don't care because you're making money. So that's okay. You're happy to pay that money because that's just part of your business cost, and you're making enough profit to cover that easily. So Oberlo is really cheap. And then this Facebook advertising that I'm talking about, to actually test a product, you really don't need $1,000 ad test. You need a $10 ad test or a $20 ad test. And so it's really easy to experiment this very inexpensively. So that's the beginner's guide to helping you understand how to start a drop shipping store, an e-commerce drop shipping operation using Shopify and AliExpress. I hope that's been helpful to you. I hope you found that interesting, and I hope to talk to you next week on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast. Ciao.
You can do it right when it's late at night.
You've been listening to the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
Be sure to visit latenightpodcast.com today to leave feedback for Mark. Download special bonus content, access the show notes, and more. See you there.
Until then, go and make some great progress on your internet business. One night at a time.
One night at a time.
Hey, so tough baseball game last night. Oh, wow. So my little 10-year-old Cardinals are in the playoffs, and we were facing a much higher seeded team. The brackets in the playoffs are always power protect. We had a pretty rough season. We had a lot of new kids. We lost both of our catchers to other leagues. And so we struggled a little bit this season. So we were lower in the bracket. We played a better team. We've played this team on and off for years. We've beaten them in the past, but not this year. When we played them earlier this season, they clobbered us. But we told the boys to go out and give it their best shot. And because of all the rain that we had in Texas, we had several of our players, 4 out of the 11, that couldn't make the game because they were out of town. It's summer here, and school is out, and many people are on vacation. And so we only had 7 players. We need 9 to play. So we had 2 guest players from another team. That's allowed in our league. As long as the boys that you get are from the same level, you're allowed to bring them over. So we brought them over, and those were 2 really talented kids. So that helped us. And we played those guest players by rule in the outfield and at the bottom of the lineup. And that worked out pretty well. And so we hung with this other team the Giants. We're the Cardinals, and they're the Giants. A classic National League matchup there, Cardinals versus Giants. And we were able to hang with them for a while, but they beat us eventually. My son pitched. He had a rough first inning. He started the game, but he came in the second inning and pitched a shutdown inning. I was really proud of him in the second. And then to end the game, he was able to turn a double play with one of his best friends, Charlie, where he grabbed a loopy little line drive. He was playing first base, and he gunned the ball at second to get the double play. Charlie was on second. So that was really cool. We really, that was a great way. If you're going to lose a game, ending the game on a bang bang double play is a great way to lose a game. So we're really happy with the outcome of that season, and we're going to be playing some more baseball soon. But that's why I didn't have a voice last night, because I was coaching that game, trying to get those boys fired up. We ended up losing 6-10, so at least we weren't totally embarrassed in that game. But that's kind of how that went. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Late night internet marketing.
Hey, it's Mark again. I wanted to tell you one more time about this absolutely free resource that I have for helping people who are trying to get the big picture for internet marketing, actually get started and understand what all their choices are. If that's not you, there's no more content. You can skip to the end. But if you're someone who came to this podcast because you're searching for how to get started online and you just can't cut through all the noise, I get it. That was me. In 2007, when I was trying to get started, there were so many people throwing offers at me that I really couldn't even understand what all the different business models were. I couldn't understand how money moved around on the internet, and I couldn't really get a grip on what direction I wanted to go in so I could figure out how to move forward. I've created a free video resource for you just for that purpose at latenightim.com/explain. In several short videos, I just explained to you what internet marketing is all about and what online business is all about and the different options that you have for starting an online business. There's nothing to buy there. You just sign up for access and you get the videos just like that. So if that's interesting to you, or if you know someone who's in a same situation, send them that link, latenightim.com/explain. And let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what people are thinking that are in the exact same position that I was in more than a decade ago in 2007. In some ways, it seems like yesterday. And in some ways, it seems like an entire lifetime ago. Again, that's latenightim.com/explain.
Late night internet marketing.